Okay, today we're talking about troubleshooting the HVAC system on a 2013 Toyota Camry that's no longer blowing cool air. So just a quick disclaimer, this video is just my personal experience troubleshooting the air conditioner on my 2013 Toyota Camry. This video is not meant to be a all-inclusive tutorial. It's not going to explore every single thing that could possibly go wrong with an air conditioning system on a vehicle. This is just meant to maybe help you get steered in the right direction or to give you some things to look for on your vehicle. So what things would you look for? Well, is the blower fan running? So when you sit inside the cabin of your vehicle, can you hear and feel air coming out of the vents? On a 2013 Toyota Camry, you also want to make sure you have changed the cabin air filter. That's located inside the glove box. Is your condenser cooling fans running? So with the engine running, when you lift up the hood and turn the air conditioner on, do you see those fans spinning behind the radiator? Can you hear and see your compressor running? Is the compressor clutch engaged? When you first turn your air conditioner on, you should hear and feel a difference in the RPMs of your engine. If you don't hear or feel any difference, then maybe that compressor or compressor clutch is not engaging. Now, a thing to note about compressor clutches, on some vehicles, the compressor clutch will not engage with the pulley when the air conditioner is off. It will only engage when you turn it on. However, on these 2013 Toyota Camrys, that compressor clutch and the pulley are always engaged and spin all the time, even when you're not running your air conditioner. So just FYI. And then the other thing I wanted to check was the flow sensor. I actually replaced it because I learned from research that that is a common failure point on these air conditioning systems. The flow sensor can be replaced with some simple snap ring pliers, and it does not touch refrigerant. It just mounts to the outside of the compressor. And then of course I was worried, okay, do I have a refrigerant charge leak somewhere in the system? So I also checked for leaks using an electronic leak detector and a bubble leak detector. So right quick, here's the basic refrigeration cycle, how an air conditioner works. Doesn't matter if you're talking about your car, your house, etc. The basic components, we start with the compressor, and off the compressor, the discharge line goes to the condenser, where the refrigerant gives off its heat to the atmosphere via the cooling fan blowing through the condenser coil. The refrigerant then flows through the liquid line to the metering device or expansion valve, where that refrigerant obviously expands, which reduces its pressure, which reduces its temperature, and then that cooler refrigerant flows into the evaporator coil through the expansion line, and your blower fan blows air through the evaporator coil, and then you'll feel cool air coming out of your vents in your car or the registers in your house. And again, it's important to change your filter. And then that refrigerant then flows on the suction line back into the compressor, and then the cycle repeats itself. There are other components in a refrigerant system, for example, the thermostat, but these are the main components in the basic refrigeration cycle. So here's that flow sensor I was talking about. You see the snap ring there, and there's also a little connector you have to disconnect. And I had to remove the coolant recovery bottle to the side to gain better access down in there. And there it is removed. Again, I replaced mine. It was fairly cheap. It was like $15 or $16. I'm going to check this high side port for leaks with my bubble leak detector, and you can see bubbles forming, so it does have a small leak at that Schrader valve. This car takes 134A refrigerant, 1.21 pounds max. So I bought this can of 134 at the local auto parts store. It has a built-in gauge on the bottle and the quick coupler fitting. I also bought these Schrader valve core removal tools from Amazon.com for right around 15 bucks. So down in the engine bay, try to give you a better view of that flow sensor down there. I'll point to it with my screwdriver. And again, for safety, anytime you work on this, if you're going to replace a sensor or do any other kind of work, make sure the engine is off and cooled down for safety. So we're going to use my electronic leak detector, battery powered. I'm going to remove the high side cap off the high side service port first. I'm going to check for leaks at that Schrader valve. It should beep faster if there's a leak. Yep, so it's indicating a leak. So that high side needs to be replaced. I'm also going to check the low side Schrader valve while I'm here. And the low side Schrader valve also needs to be replaced. That's what that Schrader valve core removal toolkit is for. You can buy them at Amazon, eBay, your local auto parts store. So here's the high side, it's red. The low side is blue. See, it consists of a quick coupler and the ball valve. There's a core removal tool right there that'll grab the Schrader valve core. So I'll remove the removal tool from the valve body. And just be careful, there's O-rings in here. You don't want to smash or damage the O-rings. So again, this procedure of replacing the valve cores you do with the engine off and cooled off. And it's a quick coupler fitting that simply sort of snaps on or clicks on to that high side service valve port. And then we close the ball valve, and then we'll thread on our removal tool next. But again, close the ball valve. Now, in order to get the removal tool down inside the service port and grab the Schrader valve core, we'll obviously need to open the ball valve to allow the tool to pass through the ball valve. So you simply screw on the tool to the ball valve like so. Don't over tighten it, just get it snug. And we'll slowly open that ball valve. And then slowly press that valve core removal tool down in there and just gently turn it slowly to the right until you feel it seat on the valve core. You'll kind of feel it grab. And then you simply unscrew the valve core tool, and it's going to unscrew that Schrader valve core from the valve. See it pop up under pressure. Now that's pressurized, so you leave the ball valve on the service port, close the ball valve, and there's your old Schrader valve core. But again, you'll note right now the ball valve is still closed, and that's holding back the refrigerant, so do not open that yet. So then I compare it, make sure I got the right valve cores. And just to show you, see the valve is closed. You can see it's closed inside. That's holding back the refrigerant. So then there's a slot that lines up with the Schrader valve core. Again, take it easy with your O-rings. You don't want to damage those. So what I'm doing is I'm going to screw it into the top of this ball valve with it still closed. Then once I screw it all the way on, then I will open the ball valve. Ball valve is now open, and I slowly press that valve core tool all the way down gently. And you'll feel it kind of seat in the threads of the service port. And you just gently start turning it to the right and thread the new valve core into the service port. And once it stops, you're done. Don't over tighten it because you'll break something. And then let the tool come back up. Close the ball valve. Now we can unscrew the tool from the ball valve. And you can see the Schrader valve core is down in where it's supposed to be. We're going to open the ball valve now, and you should hear like a little hiss. And that's it. If it continues to hiss, that means something's wrong. You need to close the ball valve and try again. And I'll repeat the same procedure with the low side service port. And you notice the low side is blue. So same thing, it's a quick coupler. It clicks onto the service port. Put the removal tool threaded into the ball valve. And then push it all the way down. Right now the ball valve is open. Then we'll unscrew the old Schrader valve core. Then we'll close the ball valve. And then there's the old Schrader valve core. And that's the new one, going in to the low side. So same thing with the ball valve closed now. We screw on the removal tool, installation tool. Once it's screwed on all the way, then we'll open the ball valve and push the tool all the way down in there. And hold the tool down and gently thread the new Schrader valve core into the valve, that service port. And again, don't over tighten it. And the tool pops back up. Close the ball valve and unscrew the tool. And same thing, when you go to open the ball valve, you should just hear a very short hiss, and that's it. Should be good to go. And then I recommend checking for leaks after you're done with this, just to make sure they're no longer leaking. And there was the hiss. And what you see me doing here with my leaf blower is just blowing some air in the area to evacuate the area. And I'm going to check again with my leak detector. Okay, now we're going to check for the charge. You hear the fans running. You want to make sure you shake it up really well before you do this. Hold the can in upright position as much as you can when you're charging. You see the gauge will tell you what your pressure is once you attach it to the low side service port. You can see the gauge is pretty much in the green, so it's pretty much still got a full charge. You press the trigger and then check the gauge. If you need a little bit more, squeeze the trigger again, check the gauge, and you can see we're well in the green. You do not want to overcharge your system because overcharging can cause damage. Just keep that in mind. I'll remove the quick coupler from the service port. You can see we're blowing right around, what is that, 48 degree air, 49 degree air out the vents in the car now. And it was a 95 degree day, about 93 degrees in my garage when I recorded this. Please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment, and thanks for watching.